How is everybody? My name is James. I'm the Executive Director of Miami Film Festival, and I'm thrilled to be here presenting the Season 18 premiere of Heartland. Can we give a big round of applause for the team? We're really excited to be doing this. It's a wonderful show, and we're really thrilled to have so many super fans here. It's actually been really wonderful already, and the show hasn't even started. So we know how much you love this wonderful show, and you're going to be the first in the US to see the Season 18 premiere. So you'll be able to tell everybody what you saw. We're going to have a wonderful conversation afterwards. We're going to ask some wonderful questions, but we're not going to spoil anything. So you're going to have to keep watching. There is going to be room for your audience questions. So while you're watching it, I want you to have a think. What would you really want to ask? And with those questions, you'll notice that at the end of each aisle, if they're still there, they will be there, are the microphones that will be there on stands. And you line up orderly, and your questions will be asked during the Q&A. So start thinking now. I'm sure there's a lot that you want to ask. We'll get to as many of you as we can. So this is all a part of Miami Film Festival and our GEMS Festival. Miami Film Festival hosts 2 festivals a year. The largest one is in April, and it has more than 100 features and TV series. Our GEMS Festival starts this week. This is one of the very first episodes, one of the very first things we're showing. We actually have 30 films that are screening over the next week. So if you are a lover of great quality films, this is the moment to come and see something else. Don't make this your only event that you come to. I pulled out a couple that I think might be of interest to you all. One is that we have the actor Sebastian Stan in town. He is in a huge number of Marvel films. He's also doing a lot of wonderful other great films that are out there in the world at the moment. He's coming to Miami to give an hour-long conversation about his career, and it's an opportunity to get to see him as well. So if you're a Marvel fan, that's a really great, exciting thing to come to. A film that I love that just has kind of some of the same vibes as Heartland, it's a film called Bob Trevino Likes It. It's just a really lovely family story and has a lot that is really lovely that I think if you have some time this week, come and see this wonderful film, Bob Trevino Likes It. We're also, for those of you in families, we are playing Harry Potter 3. And that's because we actually have, on the following weekend, the director of Harry Potter 3 here in Miami presenting his new television series, Disclaimer. But because we're celebrating that, we're going to be playing Harry Potter 3. So if you're a big fan and would like to see it on the big screen, this is your opportunity. Now, I need to give a couple of thank yous because an event like this doesn't happen easily. I really do want to thank this group of people for all of the wonderful support that they've given us. I want to thank the Canadian Consulate in Miami. Let's give them a round of applause. I want to thank Air Canada. The Calgary Film Commission. And the Alberta Film Commission. You can see a trend here, right? Lots of Canadian support. And as well, I also want to make sure that we all thank the team here at Miami-Dade College North Campus who are putting this event on. So, because this is just so Canada, we have a very special guest to come and say a few words. If we could please introduce Sylvia Cesarato, the Consul General of Canada in Miami, to come and say a few words.
Bonsoir. Good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Wow, there's so much energy in this room. It's so amazing to be here amongst so many Heartland fans. How many have watched all 17 seasons? Oh, wow. Okay, I'm shamefully only at season 2, so I have a bit of catching up to do. But, in preparing for tonight's evening, I was looking on the internet, trying to find a bit more about this series, and there were a lot of questions about how can I watch the season premiere of season 18? When is it going to be showing? I'm in the US. When's it going to be showing on Netflix? Well, guess what, Miami? Aren't you guys lucky? You are going to be the first in the US to be watching the season premiere. Wow, that's so amazing. We're so fortunate, and I too am fortunate to be here in Miami. I arrived 2 years ago along with my partner as the Consul General of Canada, but I'm supported by a great team, so I do want to thank them as well. We are responsible for Florida, Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, and really, Miami is such a dynamic place to be, and this is an example of the growing art scene, so we welcome our partnership with the Miami Film Festival. And I thank for this support, and I also thank all the organizations you mentioned, including Air Canada, and we have a few of our colleagues here from Air Canada, Government of Alberta, the Film Commission, Ministry of Arts and Culture. For those of you who don't know, Alberta is a province in Canada, and it's right above Montana. Through Alberta-made productions like Heartlands, the province is proud to showcase its culture, its natural beauty, and present a voice to the world. And if you haven't been there, I would highly encourage you to visit Alberta. Canada is often dubbed as Hollywood of the North, and we've become a global destination for film and television production, with Alberta becoming a very popular jurisdiction as well. BC and of course, Ontario and Quebec are also destinations. TV and film have a powerful way of bringing people together, no matter where we're from. Different cultures, different language, geography, location, way of life. We can be moved and connected through a show or a movie. And I can think of no better example of this than Heartland, which has made its way into the hearts of viewers in over 120 countries, if you can believe it. In 2014, Heartland became the longest-running one-hour series in Canada, and that was almost 10 years ago, so it is still going strong. In fact, in 2023, Heartland was one of the top 10 viewed shows on all streaming platforms in the US, so it remains a very powerful and very popular show. So over 17 seasons, viewers from around the world had followed the story of Amy, her sister Lou, and their grandfather Jack on their family ranch in Alberta. I don't need to tell any of you people that, right? And as you saw, and we'll have a chance to hear from the actors that portray those characters. Anyway, it's a real honor to be here. Congratulations to GEMS. And as we say in French, bon spectacle, and we'll see you after the show. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so now we're going to get to some of the fun stuff. I'm going to introduce you to possibly the most important man relating to Heartland. We're going to hear a very wonderful introduction from Michael Wineberg, who is the executive producer of the show. He is the one that brought it to life. And because we don't always know what the work of an executive producer does, I'm just going to read a little bit from his bio so that you can understand who he is and all the wonderful things he's going to be saying. So, from the very beginning, Michael Wineberg has acted as executive producer for the Heartland television show, which is the longest-running one-hour dramatic series in Canadian history, and currently has an unprecedented 18th season. In 2006, he acquired the television and ancillary rights to all the Heartland books and created the TV series of the same name. Heartland is now available in over 120 countries all over the world, and is in the top 10 most watched programs in the United States, with 22.8 billion minutes watched just last year alone. So, let's please welcome to the stage the executive producer of Heartland, Michael Wineberg.
Hello, Miami. First, I'd like to thank the Miami Film Festival for inviting us here to premiere the first episode of season 18 of Heartland. Secondly, I'd like to thank James Woolley and his team for doing a fantastic job looking after all the logistics that you have to have working smoothly to make this all work. And third, but most important, none of this would have happened without our loyal, dedicated fans, people like you. So I want you to give yourselves a big hand Great, thank you. I wanted to say a few words about, I don't think James knows it. He made a very nice introduction of me, so thank you, James, for that. But this is something I don't even think he knows. Heartland is the only show I've ever done. And prior to this, I had a long career as an investment banker. And really, I never had anything to do with film or television. So I knew very little when I started. And when I was starting to make the pilot, I discovered early on that one of the most important things I had to do, and one of the most difficult things I had to do, was casting, picking the actors that were going to be the people that I imagined in my mind. And it was a tough process, and it's something that everybody's got their own opinion. Is this guy better, or is that woman better, or whatever? So I want to tell you a little bit about how the process worked. I was having a lot of trouble finding someone to play Amy Fleming. I must have seen about 100 girls, and none of them really seemed right. And as time went on and I saw more and more auditions, I was getting closer and closer to the starting shoot date. And I was starting to run out of time, and the pressure was building. It was building on me and by myself. I was putting pressure on myself. The broadcaster was pressuring me, and the director was pressuring me. Everybody was pressuring me to pick someone. And I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Finally, I remember it very clearly. It was a Wednesday morning, and during the week, we were going to start shooting the very next Monday in the morning very early. And it was Wednesday. And I remember waking up that day and saying to myself, okay, Mr. Smart Guy, if you don't pick somebody today, you don't have a show. So I decided there and then, this has to be it. So I went into the office, and this audition, a homemade audition, came in by email. And when I opened it, it was the size of 2 postage stamps, and we couldn't make it bigger. And I kept looking, and I looked at it, and it was this young girl, and she came on, and the first thing she said was, my agent told me to tell you that I have my own horse. And then she did her audition. Within 15 seconds, I knew this was the girl. This is her. This is Amy Fleming. So we hired her right away. We brought her to Calgary. She came to Calgary 2 days later on Friday. And Monday morning, we started to shoot. So I wanted to, is she here? Is she in here? Amy? Amber? She in here? So I want to introduce you all. I want to introduce everybody. This is the real Amy Fleming, Amber Marshall. And if I hadn't waited till our last day, I don't think any of this would have happened. So thank you, Amber.
Aww. Thank you, Michael.
The other part that I was having trouble with was Grandpa Jack. Now, in my mind, Grandpa Jack had to be a tall, lanky cowboy kind of guy. For those of you old enough to remember, there was a Western cowboy in the old days, in the old movies, by the name of Gary Cooper. And this is what I had in my mind. I was thinking, you know, Jack should be like that guy. And I couldn't find anybody. Jack was supposed to be 60 to 65 years old. And every actor I saw in that category just didn't cut it. They didn't look right. And there was a very small pool, by the way, of actors in that age group. And I was having all sorts of trouble. And one day I was walking through, I was in Calgary, and we were doing live auditions in a hotel. And I went to see those auditions. And we were auditioning for Tim. The guy who played Tim was Jack's son-in-law. And he was supposed to be about 20, 22 years younger than Jack. And I walked into this audition, and I see this guy, and he's doing the audition for Tim. And when he finished the audition, I thought, you know what? I pulled him aside, And I said, you know what? If you want to be Tim, I can make you Tim today. But at the time, Tim was only in 2 scenes in a pilot, and Jack was all over. So I said to him, I want you to come back and try for the part of Jack. And he looked at me like I was crazy. He said, I'm 42 years old. Jack is 60 to 65. How are you going to do this? And I said to him, you know what? Do me a favor and humor me. And I had some makeup put on him, and I gave him gray hair, and I told him, don't shave. So I said, we'll do this, come back, get the lines, memorize the lines, and come back and do an audition for Jack. And to this very day, I think he never believed me. I was serious. But anyway, he came back a few days later, and he forgot not to shave. So he didn't look old enough. So I said, and he didn't have enough gray, and he didn't have enough lines. I said, you know what, we're going to do this again. So we did it again. He came back, and I loved him. So there it was. That was Jack. So I'm going to introduce you to the man that put me through this. The world's favorite grandpa, Shaun Johnston. How are you?
Hello, my love.
Now, the big bonus was, certainly didn't realize it at the time, but with each passing year, I just have to give him less makeup. and this is the guy, the only guy on this, the only actor, the only person on the show that hasn't gotten older in 18 years. Okay, now in season 2, we were looking around to cast somebody as a young cowboy as a potential love interest for Amy. And picking Kerry James was easy. He came, I saw his audition, his charm and his good nature came through loud and clear, and I knew this is the guy. Anyway, so he comes out to Calgary. This is in season 2. And the first day he gets there, he gets this really, really bad flu. And he's spending all his time at his hotel room trying to recover, and he's sick as a dog. And in spite of that, he didn't miss a single scene that he had to be in. So I knew I was right. This is the guy with charm, good nature. This is the guy. So let me introduce to you our very own lovable cowboy, Kerry James. Okay, so now you've got the cast up here. You've heard enough from me. How about we all watch the show?
I know you want to hear a lot from the actors, but guess what? You've got to wait 45 minutes. So think of your questions, and we can't wait to hear from them all. Let's see you in 45 minutes. Thank you, everyone. Ed, I want to know what happens. All right. If we can please welcome to the stage, in order to give you an amazing Q&A. Let's do it. Michael Wineberg, the executive producer, Amber Marshall, Shaun Johnston, and Kerry James.
You stop, so I stop. It's getting weird already.
Hello,
guys.
Miami.
Thank you guys for joining us today and getting to watch it on the big screen. That's pretty cool. How many people are from Miami? Okay, if you can like yell and scream. And how many people are not from Miami? Welcome. How many people drove or traveled over 2 hours to be here? How many people drove or traveled over 5 hours to be here? Over 10 hours to be here. Woo!
No lying.
Pardon?
No one's supposed to lie about how far they came.
Yeah, well, thank you for those who are from this area for having us here. This is our first time in Florida, and it's our first U.S. screening of Heartland. So thank you for being a part of that.
It is wonderful having you here. I really do hope you're enjoying being in Miami. Maybe you can do a season 19 holiday episode here or something.
Yeah, Michael.
Yeah, Michael.
I wouldn't say no.
Me neither.
But I know that the audience here absolutely adored that episode, and I know that they can't wait to see the rest of the season. I'm sure you had a wonderful time filming it. No spoilers, but I'm sure they're up for a lot of drama, a lot of wonderful things this season. Is there anything that you want to, broad strokes, let us know what to look forward for?
Well, those who have been following along since the very beginning know that Heartland there's something special to it, right? It's a show that you can sit down with your whole family. It's wholesome. You don't have to worry about the programming. So you're going to get all of those same feelings this year. You know, there's the laughs and the tears and everything in between. But there's some really good family drama this year between the Price Ranch and the Bartlett Fleming clan. So we get to see the ups and downs of having Amy kind of caught in the middle of being, you know, maybe wanting to explore neighborly love and also trying to be there for her family when there's a lot at stake. We also have a drought. And I can tell you guys this because we're in a closed circle here, but this was the wettest year we've ever filmed. And to film a drought it had its challenges, we'll tell you that. There was a lot of fancy camera work and things like that because, you know, we're talking about if we don't get rain and it's pouring. So there's always, you know, like these episodes are written months and months in advance. And the writers were going off the previous year because the previous year when we shot, it was hot and dry. So they're like, great, this is going to be an awesome story for next year. Well, it just so happened it was rainy and cool. So I think that the stories, though, are working really well despite the weather challenges that we have. And Alberta is a hard place to shoot a series in because of the weather. It's not sunny and, you know, hot every day. We get sometimes snow, rain, heat all in one day. And so we have to be creative with how we tackle that and the continuity of each episode.
Yeah, it's really unpredictable. There's an old saying where we are that if you can't see the mountains, it's because it's raining. And if you can see the mountains, it means it's gonna rain.
Amazing. You've all been with the show for so long. Flashing back, could you imagine where you are now, 18 years later, and the success? When did you know that it was going to be such a phenomenon? And what is it like having been on it for such a long time?
I think we're still surprised. It's an incredible experience. I think most of us, and traditionally most shows, you know, lucky to get 3 seasons, lucky to get 5. To be together this long and such a special project and being kind of family the way we've become, it's just, honestly, I'm so grateful for it. It's my favorite 4 months of my entire year, every year.
Okay.
Michael, yeah.
Michael, you might have something to say about to address that, what James is asking, but I'll tell you a little story.
It's never a little story.
It's a good story.
Brace yourself, get comfortable.
It's a good story. Okay, so we're filming the pilot episode, and that is going way, 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 way back.
Yeah, so the pilot is the very first episode of the series to test, to see if it's going to go. So it's the episode 101.
Yeah, and
It's the one that they used to make to determine if they're going to put the show into a series. So if they didn't like the pilot, it would stop right there.
Exactly. So we're filming that. And we didn't go to series until after that tested positively, and so it was still quite a while after we made that episode. So anyways, we're filming that particular story. We're filming that very first pilot episode, and we're all in a hotel together. And we're having movie night. There's Amber and there's Cindy Busby and there's Michelle Morgan
Graham Wardle.
and
Graham
Graham
Wardle.
Wardle played Ty, right? And we're all sitting around and it's movie night in a hotel. We're all watching movie night. We got popcorn and our treats and our snacks and all that kind of stuff. And partway through the movie, these girls start talking.
I think he
And
means me and Cindy. These girls.
yeah. And they start talking about, okay, when we go to series, we're going to live together. And the other one's going, oh, yes, we are. And then one says, and I'm going to get this, and I'm going to get that, and I'm going to get this car. And they're going, oh, yeah, girl. And, you know,
We did not sound like that, but
they sound exactly like that. So anyways, I thought being the old wise oak tree that is looking over the children in the yard, I said, okay, easy, easy, you guys. Like, do you know the odds of a pilot episode ever going to series? It's just a ridiculously low rate of success.
Especially in Canada.
Well, anywhere, I guess, but so I said, this business is hard enough already. It breaks your heart, so don't, please, take my word for it, don't break your own hearts. And they all got quiet, and they all looked at me, and I thought, okay, that message got through. And then all of a sudden they go, boo!
I
Quit
do
bringing
remember
down
that.
the night, man. Quit bringing down the
I do
night.
remember that. We were like, just let us dream. Come on.
I know, and that was just like, look at me now. I've got egg all over my face. We've been all these seasons later, and you know, much to my thrill and gratefulness and pride, we get to make all these seasons. But that was a little story about way back in the day. My wisdom fell flat.
But Michael, I want to throw this question to you because, as you mentioned, this is the very first show you've ever been a part of, and here we are 18 years later. So obviously, you've done something right. Did you
Tom
think?
Locke.
How many seasons did you think this show would go, or are you just amazed every year?
Well, originally I thought 3, 4 maybe. Then I'll retire, and it just kept going. So then I started to make 5-year plans, and I thought, well, it's going to go to 5, and then I thought 10, and then I thought 15, and now I'm thinking 20. So it evolved.
Agreed.
It really is incredible, though, because it's so very, very rare. So you must be very, very proud. It's hugely successful. Look, one of the things that I think you must love is working with all the animals, in particular the horses. You must have such a great relationship. I'd love to hear a story for one of you about a day that you really loved or a particular horse that you love working with. Please.
I got a story. We had a scene with a wild bear. And we had to
It
bring
wasn't a wild bear.
a bear. He was trained, but he was a bear, a big bear. And we brought him in. We had to find him in California. There were no trained bears in Canada. So we bring in this bear, and his trainer is a real rough-looking guy with lots of tattoos and scratches all over his arms from this bear. And I happened to be there that day. We were shooting this scene. And we got it set up, and the bear was supposed to run through the woods, stop on his mark, stand up, and roar. You're supposed to go, wow. So we do this thing. The bear runs through the woods. I'm shocked that he actually knows where to stop. He stops, he stands up, he roars, and everybody's all thrilled and excited. They're so happy. We got the shot. Okay, let's go. We were way out in the woods. And they start to pack up. And as they're packing up, this trainer, he comes over to me, and he says, listen, we can't leave. I said, what do you mean we can't leave? He says, well, the bear thinks he could do better. I'm thinking, is this guy joking with me? Or is he crazy? Or am I crazy? Or does he just want to be here longer? I don't know. He's getting paid by the day, so it doesn't matter. And I don't know what to do. So I'm thinking, you know what? Okay, I'll play along. So I go over to the guys with the equipment. I say, okay, stop packing, unwrap everything. We're going to do another take. Okay, so now this bear comes running through the woods, stops on his mark, gets up, and he roars like I have never seen a bear roar. This was really a super roar. And that was the shot that we used. So that's my story.
He got a little actor. He did a little.
He knew he could do better. He knew.
This is amazing. Look, I'm actually going to say that it is time for us to start getting ready for the audience questions. So I'm going to have the house lights come up a little bit, if that's okay, just so people can find the mics. At the back of each of these two aisles, there is a microphone. If we can orderly and calmly, please, make a line behind these microphones so that we can get through as many of these audience questions as we can. Are the microphones already working? Perfect. All right, we've already got a question. Let's do
I
it.
think we might have to put the microphone
Oh my
down.
gosh! How you cute little button?
When you're ready.
You can do it.
Is it on?
Yes.
Test.
It's ready to go.
Okay, what's your question, sweetheart?
Go ahead, honey.
Just make any audible sound.
Okay, maybe you want to tell your question to somebody and they can ask it for you? Long question. Okay.
Okay, she has two questions. One is for Amy, and one is for Jack.
All right.
For Amy, she wants to know if you still have feelings for Ty and you still miss him a lot.
So Ty is played by a guy named Graham, and Kerry and I are like best friends with Graham. So we still see him all the time. So I wouldn't say I miss him because because Ty left or Ty passed away, for those of you who haven't seen that, I'm sorry for spoiling that. Graham is still fine, and I'm still good friends with him. So I'm not going to say I miss him because I see him all the time, and sometimes I see him more than I want to see him. So.
You want to say the second question? Want me to say it? Yeah. Okay. She wanted to ask Jack, in particular, if he feels too old, or how does he feel to be a great grandpa?
How do you feel, old bones?
Ah, yes. Well, as Michael was talking about earlier, I started making Heartland, I was still in my 40s. And I am a pensioner now. So that's a testimony to how long we've been making the show. In my real life, I do not have grandchildren. So by playing Jack and having grandchildren and great-grandchildren in the program, and you know, I love the authenticity of our family on Heartland. I think it's really real. It just feels authentic in every aspect. And so that gives me a great sense of what it might be like to be a grandfather. And I like that experience. It's kind of training me for the day I might be lucky enough to actually be a grandfather.
You're an awesome grandfather.
Well, thank you very much. Yes.
I got one more question.
And now she talks. But
Can't you sign my hat?
Can I sign your hat?
Yeah, but you got to bring it up here.
Go
Come
on
on up.
down. Ah. This hat's already got lots of
Yeah.
signatures.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Are you a cowgirl then? Do you ride?
Oh, she rode a horse in a pumpkin patch, she said.
That's a great
counts.
start.
Okay, well. Perfect.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm worried I might bring down the value of this hat.
Well, we can start our next
Yeah.
question.
Let's do the next question over here when you're ready.
Okay, so I've loved the show for so long, so thank you so much for all of it. My family and I watch it together all the time, and it's wonderful, so thank you. This is sort of a dream come true. My husband took me for my birthday, so
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I wanted, first of all, two things. Could you please have an episode with a Pacifino? That would mean a lot to me.
Okay.
And then secondly, this question is for you, Amber. What was your favorite client horse storyline and why?
That's a very good question. It's also a very hard question to ask because we have filmed over 270 episodes. 269 episodes. That's a lot of episodes. So that's like at least 200 horse stories.
Yep.
Right? So thinking back, I don't know. I have horses that I really enjoyed working with just because specifically they were really great to be around. A storyline, I always go back to the Liberty work because that's some of my favorite stuff to do in real life. So I was just recently in Kentucky at the Liberty Horse Festival, and I got to work with some of the horses that we've used on the show before, and it was really cool to be able to just like step foot in an auditorium packed with people and just be like, oh, now I'm doing it live in front of everyone. Okay, great. I hope I remember what I learned. But it was really cool, and that stuff resonates with me, and I absolutely love that communication with horses. For those of you who don't know, I do have my own horses. I've had horses in my life from my very, very early days. So this show is really special to me for that reason, because I get to not only work with some cool people, but I get to work with some really cool horses.
Amazing.
So I don't know, I didn't answer your question, but there's just been so many, I can't even think.
Over here.
Is it working?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for being here. I screamed when I saw that post that you guys were coming, so I was very excited. And Amber, as a girl who made her mom buy her every piece of clothing that had horses on it, I am obsessed with your skirt.
Thank you.
I love it. So my question is, having had the show run for so long, what is the most unexpected development for Amy's character that you've seen? Is there something that you were like, wow, I never pictured it going in this direction, or I'm sure you feel attached to her characters, or how has that development kind of been?
It's really weird to have your life written by someone, right? I've played Amy for almost 20 years, and so to have every stage of my life scripted, so to speak, because I'm different from Amy, but I'm also very similar in a lot of ways. And so, having that, I remember feeling this pressure to get married in my own life, because I was like, I don't want to get married on TV before I get married. I want this to be my special day, not Amy's special day. And it's funny how there's certain things that happen in your life that you're like, I want to live this before my character lives this, and things like that happen. Obviously, the death of Ty was a very strong storyline that I don't think any of us were expecting early on, right? It was something, as we got closer to season 14, I think is end of 13. We were all aware because Graham had voiced his absence from the show. So I think that was kind of something when he first told me, because I believe I was the first person he told. And I was like, what? You're leaving? And he's like, yeah, when you think about it, what job have you stayed in for over 14 years? We have to think about it. We're real people, right? It's not just, we're not just these characters living these lives on TV. We're real people living our own lives. And so he's like, well, yeah, I've done this show for, at the time when he first told me, I think it was 12 years. And he's like, yeah, I've done this show for 12 years, and there's some other things I want to do. And I was like, oh, right, like, we're real people. But I remember it really affecting me when he first told me, because I was like, but, like, you're one of my best friends. Like, who am I going to act with now? Kerry, like, come
Sucker.
on. So that was probably one of those moments in Heartland history that I wasn't quite expecting, but it wasn't something that a lot of people always say, why did the writers do that? The writers did it because Graham had requested it. And of course, we have to respect what us as humans want in our lives. So I knew far in advance before the story was written. So it's not like I read it in a script and went, what? So I think that was kind of one of those moments where I was sort of taken aback. And I didn't know where that was going to take the show, where the evolution of Heartland was going to go. And I remember, I think you were like, this is good. This gives us a whole new direction. And like, you were always very positive about it. And I think that that's important, because if we all had been like, well, Heartland's done, then it would have ended in season 13. So.
Well, to add a little bit of context to that, I did try and talk him out of it a number of times, and he had made up his mind. He wanted to move on with his life. And what was I going to say? Don't move on? So when he did leave, I felt at that point that Amy and Ty were such a perfect couple. I felt, you know what, we're getting into danger territory of having them as boring. How, when you're perfect, you've got no drama. It becomes boring. So I felt that if he was gone, it would open up a lot of storylines that we couldn't do while he was there.
Because you couldn't have divorced Amy and Ty, right? Like that would not have worked. And so I think what Michael is saying is, like, on television, you have to have some tension, you have to have drama, you have to have to keep it interesting, right? Like, maybe in your own life you don't need that much drama, but when you're watching a show, that's what we're waiting to be kept on the edge of our seats. So then at that point, when we realized, okay, so this character is no longer with us, that's going to open up a whole new idea of stories.
Yeah, what I envisioned at that point, and speaking to the writers and Amber also, was, Amy's now a widow, so she's a single mother, so we could do stories about that. She's going to start dating, we could do stories about that. She's running a business on her own, that we could do that. So there was a lot of storylines that opened up that just weren't possible before.
Okay, let's take it to another question. Over this side.
So Amber, by the way, all of you are part of our virtual family. I mean, it's so incredible, having you part of our lives, in a virtual way. It's incredible. Never had anything like that before. But the question I have for you, Amber, is your stand-in. Do you have a stand-in for your action scenes?
Like a stunt double, so to speak?
Yes.
I've had over 30 now, for sure, I think. So basically, Amy Fleming is amazing. No human could ever add up to Amy Fleming, because she knows how to do every single discipline in the horse world, and perfectly.
But Amber Marshall is way cooler than Amy.
Thanks, Kerry.
But she cannot skip a stone.
True
It's
fact.
true. I've seen it.
That's true. I don't know how to skip rocks. I've been called out on it several times. In fact, there was an episode that was written where I was skipping rocks. I couldn't do it, so we turned it into I can't skip rocks.
Amy throws rocks.
Plunk. I think.
So, at all?
I think that it's the people that we surround ourselves that make us who we are. And in the world of Amy Fleming, her incredible stunt performers that we've used over the years have made that character just be so elevated. And I've learned so much from all of the horse people on set, the wranglers, the stunt performers, you name it. We have had some of the best, and even people like Dan James, who I was just in Kentucky with, and all the different Liberty trainers and performers and acts that I have had a chance to be a part of over the years have made me such a better horse person. So I think that over the years I have learned a ton, and I do get to do a lot of my own stuff. But there's also reasons such as insurance, people wanting me to not break my arm, that we bring in other people to do those things too. So I know that we all love to do as much as we can. Kerry especially is always like, I want to do it all.
I would love to, but admittedly, for the sake of Caleb, what the stunt writers are capable of just adds so much more dynamicism to the character. It's worth it.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, let's do one over here.
I'm
Hi,
going to
Jeffrey.
ambush you, KJ. I'm Jeff Lindenbaum. I've seen every episode over 30 times.
Oh my goodness.
My wife has attempted to commit me twice. At Graham's birthday party, the end of THC, supposedly, he asked you a question about Kerry submitting several recommendations, so to speak, which I think we were discussing ourselves, KJ. And Amber said some really, really nice things, and you weren't there. You were in Toronto filming.
It's because I wasn't there. She said those
That's
things.
probably. And I just wanted, for the audience, for Amber to just mention the fact that the writers have not said a lot about Thai until 1802. I thought that was just a very, very poignant episode, and I really think that they should carry through and going forward with more things about, for Lindy's sake, to hear about her dad and, and Harley and everybody else. So,
Definitely some very cool story opportunities there.
yeah. So, Amber, you can kind of.
I don't know what you want me to say.
Well, some of the nice things you said about.
I told you I can't say that when he's
Yeah,
sitting
Amber,
right here.
go ahead. Say some nice things about me.
So I think what you're referring to is I had mentioned that every year we go in at the end of the year and we talk to the writers about potential storylines coming up, and we never know if we're going to be renewed or not. So everyone always says, oh, like, is there a season 19? Is there? We don't know. So we go in, but we have to plan. We have to plan as though there's going to be. So I sit down with the writers every year and I talk about potential storylines. So I was set to go in with Mark Haroon, and he's our showrunner, and just kind of talk about ideas if we were to go in for season 18. And I gave Kerry a call. I was like, hey, I'm going in to see Mark. Is there anything that you want me to bring to the table for Caleb? And he was like, yeah. Just give me a few minutes. I get this like Word document printed like this big of all the ideas that he has for Caleb and other characters as well. And I was so impressed. Like, I'm not just saying this, but I was like, you know what? He actually really thought about this. He's excited about it. And so I took it into Mark. Mark's like, this is really, what, Kerry? This is from Kerry? This is really good.
Not just comedic relief, no.
I said, I know, it's awesome, and I'm really proud of him. And many of those storylines that he pitched were in episode 2. So I thought that was really cool, and just kind of because people always say, oh, do you have input on your characters, like that kind of thing. And so just a behind the scenes, now most of you probably haven't seen episode 2 yet. Has anyone seen? No? A few people have.
Season 18, or are you talking 17?
Season 18, yeah.
They
So
haven't seen any.
Well, there's ways. Just saying. But I think I can do a little spoiler here because they're not like huge spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen. So Caleb comes into season 18 in episode 2 as a pilot, and that was Kerry's idea. And Kerry, I think that would be fun if you kind of talk a little bit about where that story came from and what made you.
Boy. Well, it was winter, and I was like, I want to go learn to fly planes. And then I started doing it, and I was like, well, this would be great for Caleb. And that kind of crossed over.
Yeah, well, and I think the cool thing, and this is what you had told me, you're like, Caleb has to have something to him other than just being this washed up rodeo single dad guy. He's like, why would Amy like that?
Well, it made sense. Like, Amy is such a well-rounded and grounded human being that there's no way she would be interested in a guy who's essentially a dud, which would mean Caleb needed to elevate
But
his
I
own
love
career
that
path.
because I think that that gives your character a whole new level and depth of places you can go too. Because you're right, for many years we just saw Caleb as the rodeo guy. And so this gives all new possibilities for stories and a reason to bring you back and forth from Hudson to Kelowna, where you're living with Cass and...
I don't think we live together
No, you don't
anymore.
live together, but you went there for your child. I was trying
I
to think
have
of
the
your
shed
son's
out
name,
back.
and I couldn't remember him.
But it's not like a nice
what is
shed,
your
it's a Home
child's
Depot
name?
one.
What's Caleb's son's name?
My son's name? Carson.
Carson. Got it.
Massimo is his real name.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. His real name's Massimo, and he's the funniest little kid. So that's all I could think of. And anyway, I do read the scripts sometimes. I'm just kidding. So yeah, that was one of the stories. And then also there's a really touching scene that was brought up with Caleb telling Lindy stories about Ty, which you had brought up. And I think that that's really cool because Kerry and Graham are very good friends in real life. And Ty and Caleb were very good friends in the show. So that I think it's a really nice crossover there too, because you were kind of bringing some of that love and respect with your friendship with Graham into your on-screen relationship.
Well, and it's an interesting industry too, because I find that as far as of our involvement in the actual stories and the scripts, it has more to do with, like, if you don't show up and suggest something, no one's ever going to ask you. So if you put in the energy to really think about things and lay them all out and submit them, like, even if none of your ideas make it into the show, it's still an honor to know you tried to help.
And they're thinking about it too, right? Like when you go in, and I hate to say it, but it's a little bit of the barking dog gets the bone. If you're showing that you're invested, that you're interested, well, people are way more likely to be like, yeah, let's do that, right?
I want all the bones.
All right.
We've been going for...
I just wanted to add to that.
Okay, go ahead, Mike.
That we've always been very fortunate in that our writing department was always an open department. So any actors, directors, whatever, they could always come in, make suggestions, talk to them, and if they thought it was interesting and they could write it in, they would normally do so. So I think that's one of the reasons why they've been able to write so many stories. Think about it, 269 hours, at least 3 stories per episode. You're talking 800, 900 stories, at least. So they're open.
Open for business.
Okay, let's try and get a few more questions in. This side.
Yeah, hi. I'm not sure that we're your usual demographics. So my husband and I are in our 70s.
It's you, baby.
And we lived on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. I'm a physician, and we both were in venture capital, and nobody that we knew was watching Heartland. And I didn't, and none of them seemed interested. But we started a while ago, and to us it was like chicken soup. We'd sit there, it was calming, it was soothing, and it was at a time in our life when we really needed it. So I think we're through season 16, so we've really stuck with it, and I want to thank you for giving us that. Even though it was kind of unusual in our path, we just love it. We love all of you. We think it's great. But I have a question for Michael, who also is a little bit out of the milieu of Heartland. Where are you from, Michael? And what you said you did banking or investments?
I come from Montreal, Quebec, which is also pretty funny because the whole show gets shot in Calgary, 4.5 hours on a plane. And I've been doing a lot of traveling back and forth over the last 18 years. And yes, my background was strictly as an investment banker.
So what made you think, I'm going to start a series?
Yeah, that was my point. Like, maybe I could do that with, when you wake up and you go, oh, the horses. Like, have you ever been around horses?
No, it wasn't like that at all. It was a lot of it was sheer accident. I had a friend who was into horses and had a daughter who was into horses, and he was telling me about these books. And so I just, idle curiosity, I went down to the bookstore, and they'd sent me down to the kiddie section, and I saw these books, and they were for little girls 14 and under who liked horses. And the books were like the old Archie comic books. So you could take it. They were like teensy little things. And it would take about an hour for an adult to read them. And for some reason or other, the strangest thing happened. As I was reading those books, I started to get ideas about adding characters and changing characters and making it family as opposed to little girls only. And the only thing I knew about television at the time was, why isn't there a single show on television that you could watch with your family and not be embarrassed? There are so many hours of television all over the place, and there's not a single show like that. So I took the shot, and I bought the rights to the books, and then I made it happen.
And we're very happy you did.
It happened. Like you had to raise the money, you had to, what were some of the steps?
Oh, this is a
That's
clinic.
a long story.
You're going to have to pay for the classes.
It's a master class now. That's right. Why don't you tackle that another time?
Okay.
Awesome. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. We're going to do a question over here.
Hi. This is a comment actually for Miss Marshall. I met you 11 years ago in Wellington.
I remember.
Oh, you remember me?
Jerry?
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Hi, Jerry.
Hi, Amber. I just wanted to say thank you because we had some complications back then, and you were really helpful to getting me from one section to the other, and moving chairs and helping me push my wheelchair and all that. And it just really meant a lot to me that you, being a movie star like you are, would go out of your way. And also, I was hoping, I don't know how I can get down there, but I was hoping maybe you guys could sign my hat.
I would be happy to, and it's really great to see you again.
You too.
That was the last event I did in Florida. I guess it was 11 years ago now. So it's good to see you, and I'm glad you made it out today.
Thank you, Miss Amber.
Thank you. While we're signing, we're going to do a question over this side. When you're ready.
Hi. So me and my mom watch your show a lot, and we've learned a lot of stuff on your show, and I want to know what you've learned from the show.
Are you asking me?
Well, all of you.
Okay, I'm going to pass it off to you guys because there has been, 18 years of learning about horses, learning about relationships, learning about so many things. Kerry, I'm passing this one to you.
I've learned how to make an incredible coffee at craft service. No, actually, the whole Western and equestrian way of life was something that was entirely new to me. So just the exposure to that, and it's exactly as exciting as it sounds, getting to be a TV cowboy. It's a very cool experience. And then not just from the show in terms of being in front of the camera, but behind the camera, from just getting to hang out with Michael Wineberg and that, learning about this whole business and how the industry works. It's extremely exciting.
Okay, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I can't hear very good, and I don't know what we're talking about. Okay.
It's not that he can't hear very good, he can't listen.
Oh, I got caught there. Oh my gosh. What have I learned in the making of Heartland? I'll tell you this, is that the power of good people being together, caring for each other, being intimate and brave with one another, working forward when everybody loves the same idea. And it's like way more powerful than you could imagine. So if you surround yourself with good people, if you surround yourself with good ideas, success is just, it's a given in a way. And I think we could probably do that in a lot of political ways around this world too. So anyways, not that I'm soapboxing anything, but the power of people working together for something that they love is really, really good.
Great. Thank you. We're going to try and get just a few more questions in. We're not going to get to everybody, so let's keep our questions quick so we can get through a rapid-fire handful. Let's do it.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth. I met you before. Thank you for making a great show. We really enjoy it. I'm actually embarrassed to say that as a Canadian, I didn't start watching it until 2021.
Go.
My father-in-law. My father-in-law introduced me to it, and yeah, I just love it now. So, and any shameless plug for Canadian tourism. If you guys, as fans, can go out to Calgary and go do like a Heartland tour on your own, just Google the places. It's amazing. You can see all the sights. My question is, and my husband, Shannon, we often wonder this, the food. You're always having a lovely meal. Are you actually hungry when you eat the food at the dinner table? And who makes the food?
Depends how many takes.
True enough. And it depends what time of day. Because sometimes we're filming dinner scenes where we're eating meat and potatoes at 8 a.m. And I can tell you, eating meat and potatoes take after take after take at 8 in the morning is not always the greatest thing. But usually we obviously know when we're going to be filming a dinner scene. So most of the time, they try to schedule it for midday, and then we won't eat lunch so that we can actually look like we're enjoying the food that we're eating. But it does, sometimes a dinner scene can take us 3 hours. So we're sitting there eating for 3 hours. So you have to get very selective about what you eat, because I think Kerry's learned this early on too.
This was from you, season 2, first dinner scene ever. I was like, this is amazing. I'm going to chow all this food. Amber Marshall, being the pro that she is, she was like, don't do that. And then she told me about one of the first commercials she ever did where she had to eat a cherry pie, and she ate the whole pie in the first take.
Threw it up.
And then had to keep eating pies for the rest of the day. So thank you for that gem of advice.
Yeah, we usually try to pick certain items that are easier to eat take after take after take. They always give me a side salad with a lot of cucumbers, because cucumbers are very easy to stab on a fork and eat. You can eat a ton of them and not feel like throwing up. But it's the worst when you try to stab a piece of lettuce in the scene and you're like, it's not working.
It's hard to eat when people are watching.
Yeah, when you know the camera's on you and you're like, I look like an idiot right now. Or then you finally go to put it in your mouth, there's nothing on your fork, and you're like, okay. So you get to learn what is the easiest to eat. Cooked carrots are really easy, also easy to stab on a fork. I've learned the things that you just avoid in a dinner scene, but you also learn when to eat, because typically if there's a lot of people sitting at the table, they're not going to be on you when somebody else is speaking and there's no reaction taking place. They might be on you if Grandpa Jack says, I don't know, Amy, what do you think? And I'm like, So I'll plan my bites for those specific reaction moments so that I don't have to eat when I know the camera's not going to be on me in the edit, and I'll try to time it so it's yeah, Grandpa, I get it, right? Because I know that's going to be on camera. So it's it's a little bit of a learning curve.
Yeah, there's a definite strategy to it. Okay, I'll wrap this up for you. The food is prepared at the cooking school at the Southern Alberta Institute of Technology. It's we would call that a polytechnic school. It's a trade school. It's called SAIT, S-A-I-T, Southern Alberta Institute of Technology, right in Calgary, and they make wicked good stuff.
It's very good.
All right, we really only have time for one more question, and then this is going to wrap it up. So you're lucky last. Let's do it.
So this is for Amy. During the scenes where you were you had the injuries on your forehead when you fell on the rocks, what was going through your mind while you were having all these makeup put on you for this scene?
That's cool. I think that as actors, we always love when we get to have prosthetics or things done to us that are out of the normal, because it's Halloween, right? You get to dress up. So that specifically, the hardest thing in television with injuries, and Shaun knows this one very well too, is that you have to match them throughout each scene, or throughout the whole storyline, and sometimes they have to get a little bit more smaller and smaller as the story goes on.
Yeah, so we have to, what that means is it's the injury has to be applied multiple times, many times, and it has to be exactly the same every time because there's only so many hours in a day that you can work, and you got to do it tomorrow too.
Exactly. So a lot of times they make little fake tattoos, like little things that they can put on that are the same so they know exactly that it's going to match. But if it has to go over a period of days where the injury gets less and less and less, they have to keep track of that too. So there's a lot, like our hair
It's
and
like
makeup
our
department
bodies
is-
heal, right? So we
Imagine.
have to sort of track that too.
So, and we also have to think of, okay, is there going to be times where we're wearing a hat and it's going to cover it? We won't have to apply it that time. And there's a lot of thinking behind it. But for me, what I was thinking was just, this is cool. Check this out. I'm going to take a picture of this big injury on my head. So I think that as an actor, you know, you play these different roles and you play these different emotions and all that kind of stuff. Maybe one that kind of sticks out is when Amy went blind, because I had to really kind of figure out how I was going to play that and how that would feel for me. So there's things that we go through as actors that, you know, you hope you never have to go through as a human, but you have to pretend and you have to create those moments. So sometimes it can be a little bit scary.
There was no pretending, there was only being.
Sorry.
All right, the cast have asked for one or two more, so we're going to quickly allow that and then we'll wrap it. Let's do one more over here.
Wait, we can't hear you.
Oh,
there we go. Yep.
Okay. I have some hearing aids if you want to borrow them, Shaun.
Oh
It happens with age, okay? Sorry. I just want to say I never thought I would get to meet anybody from the show. I've been wanting to go out that way, but my husband and I are trying to retire and sell our business. So when I found out you were coming to Miami, it only took me 20 minutes to get here. I'm the closest one, I guess.
Well done, well done.
And I love your show. It is so heartwarming, and the scenery is beautiful. I spent summers in Oregon with my dad, and in my sophomore and junior year of high school, I spent time with him on a small ranch, and with the cattle and all that, and it just brings back all those great memories of that time, and I'm really hoping to get out of the city life one of these days and back to quietness. And I did have a horse. His name was Ace, but my son had to sell the property where he was at, and plus he bought two more, and that didn't go too good with his wife. They wouldn't listen to her, but I'd come in over there, and they would go right into the barn for me. But it's an honor to meet all three of you, and I'm hoping to see more Caleb now that I thought he wasn't going to be around around last season.
Right. Thank you very much.
And if you can, when you get a chance, I'd like to have you sign my hat. Thank you.
Right.
All right, let's do one last one over here.
All right. I actually my name's Cody. I got to get meet and greet passes for the Liberty Festival, and I gave them to my nieces. So they got to meet you, Amber, and they loved it. My 2-year-old niece was the one that hugged you at the very end. So thank you for being a fabulous human being and meeting them that night. My question, and by the way, I drove 18 hours through the night from Indiana. So my snowbird grandparents live here, and so I made it all time out perfectly to be here tonight. So thank you for doing this. And my question is kind of funny. You guys have done 18 seasons with horses, and my favorite scenes are when you guys are racing. So if you guys were to race, who would win?
Me. Because I have no skill, all confidence, and zero fear.
It's true. Kerry comes out and rides my horses, and I always turn to my husband. I'm like, oh God, just don't look. He has zero fear, and he'll just take off. And I'm like, okay.
Never been bucked off, 18 years.
That's a success.
Somehow he just does it, and they were like, well, we're just going for it. So yeah, I agree, you would win.
You just got to make this face. No matter how bad it's going, just make that face. It always works out.
Thank you.
All right, we are going to wrap it up. Can we
Well,
please give...
I had a, sorry,
please.
James, I had
Go
a
for
foot
it.
race. I had a foot race with Michael Wineberg.
I was there for that.
And I beat him. I beat him.
It was very close.
Yeah, only because I got a head start.
Can
We
we
also
please
had a
give
push-up contest with Jerry Davis.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, and I
Let's
lost
give
the
a big
push-up
round of
contest,
applause.
too.
Everybody, the cast and creators of Heartland, thank you so very much for coming. We very much appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. You're
Thank
the
you.
reason that we're still here, so thank you so much.
And I'll be outside sucking back darts if you want pictures to say hi.
Thank you all very,
Thank you,
very
everybody.
much. What a privilege to be here. Thank you.
And I'd like to thank Michael one more time, just for the show and for bringing us all together.